Well, um, welcome. Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, Sunday night edition, episode number 59. How's everyone doing out there? That's how sensitive that mic is. You hear that? Listen, man, we got a great show tonight. I am excited. We're going to dive into a very, very difficult subject. I saw and binge watched a series on Netflix um yesterday. Yesterday. Yep, sure did. Called Zero Day. Man, you're talking about the acting, the action sequences, the dialogue, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Zero Day on Netflix, man. It was amazing. Starring Robert De Niro. And they had a couple other uh all-star. It was an all-star cast. I'm not going to drop any other names because there was some surprise uh guest stars on there. But please go check it out. And man, you're talking about a great show. And it talks about the possibilities of things that can actually happen in our country, right? Zero Day. We talk the sensei and I, shout out to the sensei. The sensei and I have talked about in the past. We talked about a zero-day attack and what that is and what that means. So if you don't know what a zero-day attack is, to my smarts, please go check it out. It's a worthy watch. Trust me on that. It's a worthy watch. But as I continue, let me digress back to tonight's subject matter. Freedom versus liberty. Now, before we get into our show, my smarts, and to those who are new to the show, before I get started, I like to have like a early call to action, which I like to call my brass tacks. And tonight's brass tacks comes from George Orwell. Yes, tonight's brass tacks comes from George Orwell. And here we go. The brass tacks. The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those that speak it. Think about that. Those are deep thoughts for deep people. Deep thoughts for deep people. That's for you guys. That's for my smarts. Listen. Continue to please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and all of our social media. The merch site is up. Listen, I just dropped some major products on the merch site. The merch site is www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. Again, the merch site is www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. Go grab you some merch. We got hoodies, t-shirts, hats, polo shirts. We got collabs on there with different brands. Man, I'm blessed to be here. Go check out the merch site if you have not checked out the merch site. Also, if anybody has any questions or would like to be on the podcast, please send me an email at info at the Final Boss Podcast. Right? Send me an email, man. If you have questions, you wanna your voice to be heard on the show, listen, I'm available. I'm not a stranger to having debate and conversation. All right. Tune in on Tuesday because we're here Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. Tune in on Tuesday for our episode with the Sensei, Big Mike. Every Tuesday, as I'm on here every Sunday. And this week's special guest, because I have a special guest every Thursday, when applicable. We ran into some hangups about a week ago where we planned to have a special guest on, and things didn't go as planned, but we're looking forward to getting my big cuz, Ken Mel Boom Barber, on the show. He has a wealth of knowledge that he's going to bring to us. And yeah, that's coming soon. So, because I know you out there, get back at me, man, when your schedule is free so we can make that happen. We got to make that happen, man. We got to make that happen. Great seeing you again, man. The energy was crazy. Listen, we got to make that happen, man. And we got to do better at keeping in touch too. And, family's important. Listen, if you don't understand the crisis that's happening around the world, I'm not talking about just our country, because some believe that we're not in a crisis. It's all in your perspective, your perception, right? It's all in your perception. But when the crisis does happen, all you will have is family. All you will have is family. Now, not every relative, you know what? I'm not going down that rabbit hole. That's for another time, another conversation. That's something Sensei and I always talk about. So we're going to get right into it. And I'm glad everyone is here. I hope you have a successful week coming up. Oh, this Thursday, the phenomenal entrepreneurial Nika Hudson. Phenomenal individual, phenomenal human being. She will be our special guest this Thursday, and she's bringing a wealth of knowledge on her subject matter and the things that she's passionate about, and she's going to bring it to you guys, right? And we're going to have the most difficult conversation that we always have on this very channel. So listen, the most difficult of conversations right here. So tonight's show, freedom versus liberty. As I said before, we tackle the big questions, and there's no bigger question than this question right here, because a lot of people think that it's the same. Freedom versus liberty. It's not the same. It is not the same, right? We got more caffeine than a rocket scientist's conviction. That's why I'm hyped, man. I'm always hyped. That's why they call me Turbo. You want to know why they call me Turbo? Because I'm always hyped, man. Like, my energy is always high, like crazy high. So, now you know. And today's topic, so May Believe, is a real head scratcher. I know you're over there scratching your head, trying to figure out what he's talking about. Freedom versus liberty. Well, are they twins? Separated at birth? They could be. Or are they distant cousins? Are they distant cousins who only met at one of those awkward family reunions? Speaking of family reunions, man, I haven't been to a family reunion in a minute. I need to go to a family reunion because I need to see my people. I need to see my clan, man. Go touch my clan. And listen to my family. Listen, whoever's planning the family reunion this year, we need to get that information out there, put some marketing on it, get it pushed out. Look, let's do it. We need to see each other. All right. Speaking of which, or is freedom versus liberty sworn enemies, battling it out for control of what? Your Netflix queue? But before we dive in, a little understanding of why I chose tonight's topic for those who just came on board. Go see the movie. Go watch the series Zero Day. Go watch the series Zero Day, and you'll have a better understanding. And it coincides with why I chose the quote from George Orwell. Right? It always ties in to what I'm talking about. So freedom versus liberty. Let's start with the basics. What do I even mean? All right. Are they interchangeable? Are there subtle differences? Freedom is like a wild, untamed pony, if you will. It can gallop wherever it wants, do what it wants, graze wherever it wants. Liberty, on the other hand, is more like a well trained show pony with all the glitz and glamour, the instruction, the discipline, albeit it still gets to run, but with a little more panache, structure, maybe a sparkly saddle, and a rider that's giving it instructions. How about that? Mm, deduct that, right? Deduct that thought process. Freedom is often associated with the absence of external constraints, while liberty implies a more nuanced balance between individual rights and societal responsibilities. We all have societal responsibilities. Even businesses have societal responsibilities. That's for another show. That statement alone, you have to ask, is that a fair assessment? Of course. Of course. Freedom says, hey, I'm gonna do what I want. Liberty would say, hey, do whatever you want, but let's not try to set the neighbor's cat. And no offense, because I'm a cat person. I love my cat. Her name's Gigi, right? And I don't want to offend anybody who is a cat person. I'm a cat person. But there's some devious people out there that hate cats. Man, listen. That's one of my favorite phrases too. Like, man, listen. Let's consider some historical examples, right? And at the end of the show, as always, for my fact checkers, I provide references and resources. Most are scholarly, right? Go check that out. Well, the show is doing that. Like, I haven't seen that part. Like, for real. People just out here speaking opinions off the top of their head and making those opinions factual and or fact they like to call it fact-based opinions, but no, facts are facts, opinions are opinions. Freedom is freedom and liberty is liberty. Let's talk about the American Revolution. For instance, was it a fight for freedom, liberty, or both? And how did those concepts play out differently for various groups within society? Some may say for both. They wanted freedom from England, but the whole liberty and justice for all thing, let's think about that. That piece took a while to work out. That didn't happen overnight. Let's just say some people got left out of the initial party, right? It happens. It happens more than you think. Um, there's a book that you can do some research on this very subject. It's called The American Revolution by Gordon S. Wood. Go check that book out, man. Get spun up. Get smart. All right. Get smart. It seems that the line between freedom and liberty is often blurred. It is. It is often blurred. Like I said in the beginning of the show, most people don't know the difference between freedom and liberty. And for that matter, certain groups know how to manipulate that. How can we better understand the distinctions, especially in today's complex world? And we live in a complex world. Oh boy, there's more gray area than it is black and white. And that's my opinion. Listen, I'm just a messenger. I am just a messenger. So uh you form your own opinion on that. It's like trying to untangle, and I'm notoriously known for this, my spaghetti. Who put sugar on spaghetti? I know a lot of y'all out there do. I know you do. I've seen people put ketchup on spaghetti. Like it already has tomato sauce on it. And you putting ketchup on it and you putting sugar on it. Hmm. I was guilty of that once. I wanted to try it and see what it was all about. It was a mess. It was crazy. Think of it this way. Negative liberty is freedom from stuff like getting your rights taken away and being arrested for wearing the wrong shoes, mismatched shoes. Mismatched shoes. You get arrested for wearing mismatched shoes, right? And positive liberty is the freedom to do stuff. Like you want to open up a bakery, sell some gluten-free donkey cupcakes. I said donkey because earlier we said we was talking about ponies. So we talking about donkeys now, right? Donkey cupcakes. That sounds wild. That sounds crazy. But the differences really is clear as mud. Isaiah Berlin's essay, Two Concepts of Liberty, is a great starting point for understanding the distinction between the two. Go check that out. Is there such thing as too much freedom? Where does individual freedom end and the potential harm to others begin? Imagine a playground with no rules. Sounds fun until somebody start throwing bats just randomly throwing bats. Freedom is the guardrails against that. Some of those freedoms are common sense to keep things in order from going crazy, wild, and stopping individuals from being insane. Right? That's what that is. Now, this whole topic, this whole topic, you have to add the government, right? Because you can't have a conversation on freedom and liberty without having the government involved. How can the government ensure both freedom and liberty for its citizens? Y'all think on that for a second. I need to I need to pull up something. Okay. Oh boy. That's not supposed to happen. Disconnect the Bluetooth. Okay. Go back to it. Okay. Oh boy. I connected my other phone so I could see the comments because we're streaming live to 4 different social media platforms currently. So I like to see the comments from StreamYard, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube simultaneously. That's how I'm rolling. So, did you ask that question? Ask yourself that question. Citizens sometimes become overly intrusive or oppressive. The government needs to be strong enough to keep things running smoothly, but not so strong as it squashes everyone's individuality. We need individuality. That's what being an American is all about. It's a delicate balance, like a really complicated Monopoly game or Jenga. Any Jenga fans out there? There's different perspectives on exploring this thought process. What about economic freedom? Now, economic freedom is something totally different, right? Is it truly possible to have economic freedom without significant inequalities? Imagine a race where everyone starts with the same amount of money. Some will run faster, some will run slower. It's about finding a way to ensure everyone has a fair shot, even if the finish line isn't exactly the same for everyone. It seems that freedom in its purest form is a bit of a paradox, right? How do we navigate this complexity in a practical way? It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. I've seen it done. You probably seen it done too. There's some real Rubik's Cube masters out there. But you want to add something else to that? Try solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded while on a roller coaster. Try that. Think about that. But this is America. We muddle through the bad, we learn as we go, and we try not to do anything malicious to people's cats. Look, my cat, man, she's so smart. One day, I'm just waiting for her to just start talking. I'm telling you, this Gigi is amazing, and man, this cat is super smart. Her level of intelligence and comprehension is just crazy. I'm like, Gigi, when you gonna start talking? I won't be surprised. Liberty often comes with responsibilities. That's one of the key characteristics. What are some of those responsibilities? How do we ensure they are held up? It's like having a cat, a dog, a fish, bird, whatever pet, even a pet dinosaur, whatever. It's awesome. You love it. You got to feed it. You got to clean it up. You have to clean up after it. You have to make sure that it doesn't eat the neighbor's cat. Liberty requires responsibility. For a discussion on responsibility, go read The Civic Culture by Almond and Verba. Go check that book out. That was a reference that I dropped in there. Go check it out. How do we protect liberty from those who would seek to undermine it? What are some of the biggest threats to liberty in the modern world? That's a conversation for a whole podcast in itself. A whole podcast in itself. Things like misinformation, unchecked power, people who think like I do, and I'm guilty. People who think, and I'm talking about myself. Listen, I'm always the first to say, hey, that's me. I'm that guy. And I put pineapples on pizza. And I believe wholeheartedly that pineapples belong on pizza. You don't want to have that discussion with me, bro. You don't want to have that discussion with me. Pineapples belong on pizza. But you got some that would disagree. As a matter of fact, you have a lot of people that would disagree. But I ain't that person. I'm putting pineapples on pizza each and every time. It's my favorite. We need to be vigilant, informed, and ready to defend our freedoms from all threats, big and small. This is America. If you think about it, the preservation of liberty requires constant vigilance and active participation. How can we ensure future generations to understand and value liberty? We need to teach them the value of critical thinking, responsible citizenship, and the importance of not letting anyone tell them that pineapples don't belong on pizza because it does. It does. Is there a perfect balance between freedom and liberty, or is it an ongoing negotiation? Like freedom, liberty, right here. It's just Yeah, like this. It's, it's not perfect. Or is it constant tension? I just showed you that the handshake was negotiation piece. The pull back and forth was the tension. See how I laid that into that? Or is it like one of those death merry-go-round rusted things that was on the playground that our friends would spin till it reached 1,000 miles an hour, and we're holding on to dear life, right? Where's the balance? And speaking of which, man, did our parents really, really love us? Because that was definitely a death vehicle. It was insane. A rusty old merry-go-round that spins at 1,000 miles an hour while you hold on to dear life, or till you lose your grip, or whatever. It, we did that. And our parents allowed us to do that. Shame on you, parents. Shame on you. The key, like all things, is we have to keep adjusting. We have to keep talking. We have to have the lines of communication open. And to one of my listeners, a very specific listener, the lines of communication must always be open. Always. What are actually ask yourself this. What are some practical steps individuals can take to promote both freedom and liberty in their own lives and communities? This is a call to action. Think about that. Try to put these into action and practice. You must stay informed, be active, vote, be kind to your neighbor, be kind to your stranger, be kind to your enemy. Don't let anyone take your pizza that you have pineapples on. Hawaiian for the win. It's the little things that count. It's the little things that count. You know, there historically a lot of questions, a lot of answers that are out there in reference to this very topic. And I'm a firm believer in getting to the information, getting to the most difficult of conversations, getting to the bottom line, having examples, spreading truth, spreading truth, providing resources, providing references. And tonight is no different. Tonight is no different. We are constantly being persuaded, I would say, to the left, to the right, when the truth is always somewhere in the middle. It's always somewhere in the middle. And we have to be vigilant, man. We have to be vigilant. We have to have ethics. Ethics is so important. I think almost every show I come to a point where I talk about ethics. And this conversation is no different. Freedom and liberty is not static. It's more of a dynamic process that requires ongoing dialogue and adaptation. That's the difference. That's the difference. I hope that you were able to receive the message and have a clearer understanding of the difference between freedom and liberty. I dropped some humor, I dropped different comparisons, I made it relatable. Um, I added all the things that I believe that would keep you informed and provide you with keeping your attention. They say that our attention span, this is people, ordinary people's attention span is about 15 minutes. So, in my dialogue, I would open up with something that'll grab your attention, give you some facts, adjust the facts, add humor, then wash, rinse, and repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. So I can keep the flow of information liquid and keep your attention all at the same time. Freedom and liberty would not exist if everyone acted purely in their own self interest. The shared resources will get depleted. Freedom needs boundaries, a framework of laws, social norms to prevent people from getting harmed. I spoke about how you can't have a conversation about freedom and liberty without talking about the government. And that's the $1 million question. As I said earlier, It's about finding the right balance. It is a constant challenge of democracy. If you don't believe this, go read your history of America. Too much government control stifles freedom. Too little leads to chaos. It's a delicate dance. It's a delicate dance. Like some of those dances on Dancing with the Stars. It's a delicate dance. And it's very specific, depending on cultural values and historical context. You know, we if you don't believe that liberty comes with responsibilities, then your beliefs are solely about freedom with freedom intent, which is what we've been talking about, the differences. The responsibilities of liberty. Liberty is about the responsibility to respect the rights and freedoms of others. It also means participating in democratic processes, upholding the rule of law, contributing to the common good for the sake of humanity. It's not just about you or me, it's about us. It's about shared responsibilities. It's about shared responsibilities. And to our future generations, they need to understand the history. Without the history, you're prone to repeat the past. Without the history, you're prone to repeat the past. There's no getting away from that. History can be ugly, but it's there. It's there, and because of it, it's why we are here where we are today. It's why we're here today because of the past. I suggest people get more involved with your community activism, things that you believe in, engage in meaningful, respectful dialogue, not just with people who agree with your talking points, but it's okay to debate and have disagreements and see other points of views. It is necessary. That's how we grow. That's how we grow. And in that community and activism, we must hold our leaders that we pick accountable. Listen, if you don't learn anything from Freedom and Liberty tonight on the Final Boss podcast, I want you to understand that the leaders we put in power, they work for us. We put them in power. They must be held accountable. And you, as a citizen, has the responsibility to be active in that. You have the responsibility to be active in that. Listen, tonight's show, Freedom versus Liberty. We got 15 minutes left on the clock. And I see people joining in. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate you. If anybody has any comments who would like to join in for the last 15 minutes, let me know. I'll shoot you an invite. Let's close out with a bang. Anybody who wants to join this conversation on the Final Boss podcast, and as we further discuss this conversation about freedom versus liberty, come on in. Hit me up. Let me know. I've seen your invite for the last, 13 minutes now. So, if no one joins in, I just want to thank everyone, constantly thank everyone for your continuous support. I really, really appreciate you. On Instagram, we reached a milestone of 5 million interactions for the last 30 days. That includes reels, views, likes, comment, all that's the whole shebang. 5 million interactions in the last 30 days. That would not be possible if it were not for you who are continuously joining us, supporting us, and being a part of the Final Boss. And the Final Boss is more than just a podcast. It's a movement. It's a movement. Join the Final Boss podcast movement. It's a movement about truth. It's a movement about absolute truth. Absolute truth. Tonight's resources come from give me a second. I wrote it down. Tonight's resources. John Locke, Two Treaties of Government. Now I know y'all listen. I'm working on my master's right now. So not only am I working on this business venture, because now it's a business. You can go research the Final Boss Podcast LLC. It's a business. It also has a merch store, and The merch store has its own URL, its website. Um, we will soon be on the TikTok store, Amazon store, and a gamut of other stores. And man, it's a movement. Go check out the merch, the Final Boss Podcast merch. Go check it out. The merch is part of the movement. It's, it's part of the two parts of what we were talking about: freedom and liberty. Go read or check out On Liberty by John Stuart Mill. In it, you will learn the limits of individual freedom and the role of society in regulating individual actions. This author I spoke of earlier during the podcast, his name is Isaiah Berlin, and his book was Two Concepts of Liberty. I dropped that earlier as a footnote, right? Thomas Hobbes, Leviathan. It offers a contrasting perspective on the social contract, emphasizing the need for a strong sovereign to maintain order. Go check that out. Have an understanding of historical events such as the American Revolution. There are numerous books and articles on that lays out the ideals of liberty and the realities of treating humans wrongfully and giving them inequality. As I mentioned before, there are scholarly works out there on this topic. One of the great scholarly works out there is Jordan Wood's American Revolution. I think I dropped that one earlier too. We could talk about these. We could talk about freedom and liberty all day long. I could drop resources and references and scholarly footnotes and all these other things all day long. From the American Revolution to the Civil Rights Movement to the French Revolution and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on, nonstop. When I spoke earlier about civic engagement and responsibility, go check out the book by Almond and Verba, The Civic Culture. And it speaks from a point of works on civic education and participation. And there are a lot of resources out there on that. There are plenty of academic journals and things of that nature. I'm not going to go down the list. It's just too much. But if you ever want to follow up on the information, I always provide the necessary resources and references. So you would not be led into the blind. I'm dropping these breadcrumbs. I'm dropping these ginger snaps. I'm dropping the things that may help you change your mind about pineapples on pizza. Pineapples on pizza. I'm helping you change your mind. That's the difference between freedom and liberty. But listen, man, I have enjoyed tonight's topic. I'm just a messenger, and I want to convey these messages and get it out to You, the people. To my smarts, thank you for your continued support. As we just hit, like I said, just on Instagram alone, 5 million interactions just on Instagram alone. Thank you so much for your support in that. Continue to like, share. And this is not a flex, man. It's more of a humble flex. This is a humble flex. And you know, that's what it's about, man. Thank you for the support. My smarts, I appreciate you. I'm gonna have something crafted just for you guys that I probably would give away on not a probably. I'm gonna craft something just for you guys as a giveaway for the merch site, right? So keep a lookout for that. You have to go check out the finalboss.com merch site in order to receive that gift. That's coming. It's coming soon. So stay on the lookout for that, my smarts. Continue to like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're here each and every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. This Thursday, special guest, phenomenal woman, super smart entrepreneur, Nika Hudson. Check out that. Check out that episode coming out this Thursday, live at 9 p.m. And of course, every Tuesday, the sensei and I will be talking about the most difficult of conversations each and every Tuesday at 9 p.m. live right here. If you're not subscribed to us, go subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify. See us on Facebook, Instagram, StreamYard for those who need the visual effect. We have later postings on TikTok for those who are on TikTok. And our TikTok is doing pretty good too. Go check out the TikTok, right? As we conclude and end our show tonight, stay balanced, stay equal, stay smart. That's our show. Episode number 59. Episode number 59. It's been an amazing journey. It has been with my pleasure to provide you with this information. And we have plenty of more episodes and information to come. And we're only going to get better. We're only going to get better. This week, special announcement. This week is the last week of my 40s. I know. You can't tell. I know. I look beautiful. I know. Look at the handsomeness in this face. This is my last week in my 40s. I think I'm going to do something special the night of, probably right after special guest Nika Hudson, going into from the 20th to the 21st as I end my last day in my 40s. Going to hit the big 50, the big 50. And that's a blessing by choice. Let me tell you, man. We're gonna talk about some things that night because I'm blessed to be here. I am truly blessed to be here, man. Truly. I give praise to the Almighty. And I'm so grateful that He has allowed me to be where I'm at. So thank you. I love you all. Y'all be good. Be good to each other. And that's our show tonight.